On July 4th, 2026, America will celebrate 250 years of independence. Unless we act now, it will be the last anniversary that word means anything. In 1776, our founders declared freedom from a king who ruled by divine right, not consent of the governed, sent armies to foreign lands for crown enrichment. That criminalized dissent as treason, taxed colonists to fund wars they opposed, served the interests of empire over the people. In 2026, we serve a different empire. Not British, Israeli. And unlike our ancestors who fought back, we've been trained to police ourselves. Terrified that speaking truth will get us labeled anti-Semitic, career destroyed, socially exiled. We become prisoners of a slur, enforcing our own subjugation while our Constitution burns. This ends now, or it ends us. Now, November 22nd, 1963, President John F. Kennedy assassinated after refusing to allow Israel's nuclear program and threatening to dismantle the CIA. The last president to truly challenge the emerging power structure. And yes, since then, Israel has stolen a nuke from us. 1976, Venezuela nationalizes their oil. Pentagon begins planning for eventual resource seizure. 2001, Pentagon memo surfaces. 7 countries in 5 years: Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Iran. Wesley Clark reveals the plan. Somalia was always on the list. 2003 to 2011. Iraq, Libya destroyed under false pretenses. Their oil secured. Democracy exported at gunpoint. 2024. IPAC spends $100 million plus buying every seat in Congress. Both parties captured. December 26, 2025. Israel recognizes Somaliland, and the Boston Consulting Group's Palestinian relocation plan activates. Same day, Minnesota Somali fraud video goes viral, reaching 135 million views, and anti-Muslim propaganda provides cover. January 2026. Is Venezuela invaded, oil seized, Maduro captured without congressional approval. Trump, we will run Venezuela. HR 6090 is in effect, and criticizing Israel is now legally discrimination. The First Amendment is dead. And since then, Greenland has also been promised on the list, and as a result of that, our allies in Europe have decided to stop trading with us. Not good. 50 plus years. This didn't happen overnight. It happened while we were trained to look away, terrified of being called names. The choice in 2028. Now, if Vance, J.D. Vance, that is, the vice president, if he becomes president in 2028, the American Republic ends. Not metaphorically, literally. Vance is Peter Thiel's creation. 15 million plus invested in buying a senator who became vice president who will become president. Thiel's Palantir provides surveillance infrastructure to NSA, CIA, and ICE. Thiel's ideology is explicit. Democracy has failed. Technocracy must replace it. Now, with Vance in power and HR 6090 criminalizing dissent as anti-Semitism, you will watch Palantir's surveillance tracking every anti-Semitic statement, criticism of Israel, and social credit systems determining employment, travel, banking access, and legal prosecution of journalists, activists, citizens under discrimination laws. Continued wars for Israeli expansion, and by the way, Iran is next on Wesley Clark's list, and we're already hearing those war drums. Your children will be conscripted to die for Somaliland military bases and Venezuelan oil fields. And for those of you that don't know, Somaliland is the area in Somalia that the elites sold basically to Israel, and all the fraud payments that are going back over there are for Somali elites for Israeli payment of Somaliland. They already have a base over there. They want it as their next holy land, and to control the sea access to areas such as Iran. And every president since Bush has known about it and looked the other way. Now, also, lastly, constitutional America has been memory hold as problematic and anti-Semitic, or in the words of Benjamin Netanyahu, World War Jew. Ridiculous. You think you're a citizen now? Under UCC, or the Uniform Commercial Code, which is what the states basically go by, you're already classified as a corporate asset, a debt instrument securing federal bonds. Your birth certificate, it's a security. Your labor is collateral. If Vance takes power, you won't even have the legal fiction of citizenship. You'll be a data point in Palantir's system, monitored for compliance, triggered or flagged for wrongthink, and economically disappeared if you question Israeli policy. Your grandchildren, they won't be Americans. They'll be debt slaves exported to creditor nations when the empire collapses under the weight of serving foreign interests instead of its own people. This is not hyperbole. This is trajectory. Now, what we're afraid of and why that's the point, it's anti-Semitism. That's the word that stops you from sharing this video, from demanding answers, from calling your representative. Now let's be clear what that word means now. Criticizing AIPAC's $100 million purchase of Congress, anti-Semitism. Questioning Israel's recognition of Somaliland for military bases, anti-Semitism. Noting Boston Consulting Group's modeled Palestinian ethnic cleansing, anti-Semitism. Asking why Minnesota fraud went viral the same day as Somaliland recognition, anti-Semitism. Opposing illegal invasion of Venezuela for oil, anti-Semitism, somehow. Defending the First Amendment against H.R. 6090, anti-Semitism. They want you afraid. That's the entire system. Not afraid of prison, that comes later. Afraid of social death, career ruin, being cast out, because they know Americans will endure tyranny if the alternative is being called a name. Our founders faced actual death, torture, their families murdered, their homes burned. They signed the Declaration of Independence knowing they'd hang if they lost. We're afraid of Twitter ratios, X ratios, and HR complaints. Let me tell you what's actually anti-Semitic. Allowing Netanyahu to commit genocide while claiming to speak for all Jews. The majority of young American Jews oppose Israeli policy. Holocaust survivors have condemned Gaza as genocide. Jewish Voice for Peace, If Not Now, and Jews for Ceasefire, those are actual Jews begging the world to stop conflating Zionism with Judaism. Zionism is a political ideology. Like communism, like fascism, like Nazism, it can be opposed, critiqued, resisted without attacking a religious group. H.R. 6090 deliberately conflates the two, so criticism of a government's actions gets treated as religious bigotry. That's not protecting Jews. That's weaponizing them as human shields for war crimes. Now, refusing to be weaponized by this linguistic trick isn't anti-Semitism, it's moral clarity. The strategic reality they don't want you to know is that Israel needs America. America does not need Israel. We provide $3.8 billion annually in military aid, the real number being much higher with all the emergency packages, like a few billion every couple of weeks or something, or every time Netanyahu decides to cuddle up to, yeah, you get it. Now, UN Security Council veto protecting them from consequences, military technology, intelligence sharing, and diplomatic cover. $100 million plus in IPAC spending to ensure congressional obedience. Now, they provide intelligence sharing, often false, see the Iraq WMDs, strategic ally that spies on us constantly, see Jonathan Pollard. Middle East stability, they've destabilized the entire region. With our help, of course. I mean, we did install the reason that Iran is no longer somewhat American-like. Anyhow, without American backing, Israel cannot maintain military superiority over neighbors, expand into Somaliland, Somalia, or Sudan, complete ethnic cleansing of Gaza, survive economically under international sanctions, win a conventional war if Arab states unite against them. Now, Russia and China will not ally with Israel against America. Why would they? China wants Taiwan, which used to be part of China anyway. Supporting Israeli territorial expansion undermines that claim. Russia wants Ukraine. Same problem. But that part's not even our business. I'll do a story on that another time. Now, both oppose U.S. hegemony, but know Israel is a U.S. proxy and not an independent power. Neither has religious or ideological stake in Zionism, but both would love to see America abandon Israel and stop Middle East interventions that threaten their interests, which, again, is none of our business. Now, the World War III threat is a bluff. The real calculation, if America stands down, Israel stands down because they have no choice, unless they're crazy enough to fire off that nuke they stole. All we have to do is cut the money, all of it. Let the UN vote. Stop using our veto to protect war crimes. Prosecute IPAC under FARA laws. They operate as foreign agents. Repeal HR 6090. Restore the First Amendment. That's easy. Primary every IPAC-funded representative, both parties. Do this, and you can see Gaza ceasefire within weeks, Somaliland recognition withdrawn, Palestinian relocation plans abandoned, Venezuela policy revisited, constitutional governance restored. The Western world follows American leadership, always has. If we stop enabling Israeli expansion, Europe stops. Canada stops. Australia stops. The entire architecture collapses. We hold all the cards. We're just too afraid to play them. Now, this is in regard to the souls of Somaliland as well as the souls of our children. Right now, Somali people are watching America and Israel plan their displacement. Not hypothetically. Boston Consulting Group literally modeled this. They're watching Palestinians being slowly erased from Gaza, knowing they're next. They're watching Minnesota Somalis demonized as criminals to soften public opinion for what's coming. They're watching us choose apathy. In the 1940s, the world watched European Jews loaded onto trains and did nothing. Not our problem, too complicated. What can we do? We know how that story ends. Now we're the Germans in that story. The ones who didn't know what the camps were for. Who were just following orders. Who didn't want trouble. Except that we do know. The evidence is public. Boston Consulting Group's transfer model, Trump's voluntary relocation proposal of $5,000 a person, Wesley Clark's Pentagon memo regarding Somalia on the target list since 2001, when Bush started looking the other way for those bribes from Israel, out of our pockets, might I add. Israeli Somaliland recognition for military bases, and the timing, which was the same day as the Minnesota propaganda blitz. We know. We know. So when Somaliland bones build Israel's new Holy Land, when Palestinian families are scattered across East Africa to die in refugee camps, when American soldiers patrol Berbera for oil tanker routes, we can't say that we didn't know. But this isn't just about them. It's about our children. It's about our children's children. Because if we don't stop this now, and if we let Vance take power in 2028, if we let the Palantir IPAC Zionist nexus complete its takeover, your grandchildren will be the debt slaves. Conscripted to die in Iran, which is next on Wesley Clark's list. Working 3 jobs to service Chinese bonds while their labor gets exported. Living under social credit surveillance that makes China's system look free. They'll ask what you did. When America died, when the Constitution became decorative, when foreign lobby money purchased the government completely? What will you tell them? That you were being afraid of being called anti-Semitic? That you didn't want to lose your job? That it seemed too complicated? Or will you tell them you stood? Imagine bringing Washington, Jefferson, Adams, Franklin forward to 2026 and showing them Congress members receiving $650,000 from a foreign lobby, President invading sovereign nations without congressional approval, free speech criminalized if it criticizes a foreign government, citizens afraid to speak truth because they might lose employment, tax dollars funding genocide while infrastructure crumbles, military deployed for foreign expansion while borders remain open, surveillance state monitoring every communication, and birth certificates treated as corporate securities. They'd call for revolution immediately. Not because things are hard, but because we've surrendered everything that they died to create. They'd be rolling over in their graves if they knew what was going on right now in this country. They faced the most powerful empire on earth with muskets and willpower. We face a lobby with checkbooks, and we've surrendered without firing a single shot. Patrick Henry, give me liberty or give me death. We chose give me comfort and I'll ignore tyranny. Thomas Jefferson, the tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants. We're letting the tree die rather than face social disapproval. Benjamin Franklin, a republic if you can keep it. We're giving it away for IPAC endorsements and media approval. Now, this should be our 250th anniversary ultimatum to the government. July 4th, 2026 is the last chance. Not because of arbitrary timing, because of the symbolic weight, and it matters. If we reach 250 years of independence while Israel lobby controls our government completely, our military invades for foreign interests, our First Amendment is nullified, our citizens too afraid to speak truth, our children face debt slavery and foreign wars, then the Declaration of Independence was a lie. Not in 1776. Now, retroactively. Because everything our ancestors fought for, every death at Valley Forge, Normandy, every sacrifice across 250 years, it was all meaningless if we surrender it to avoid being called names. This is the test. Not whether we can win wars, not whether we can build technology, not whether we can create wealth, whether we can stay free. Whether we have the courage that farmers in 1776, yes, I said farmers, had when they faced the British Empire. Whether we're worthy of what they built. Based on our current trajectory, we're not. Now, if you're watching this, you are the resistance. Not because you're special, because you're willing to look. Immediately, you should share this video. Don't ask permission. Don't worry about being called anti-Semitic. They're counting on your silence. Call your representatives. Every single one. Demand repeal of H.R. 6090, IPAC prosecution under FARA laws, congressional investigation of Venezuela invasion, Somaliland, Minnesota timing investigation, cut all aid to Israel until Gaza ceasefire, primary challenge every IPAC-funded representative, both parties, find candidates who will actually sign a pledge saying no foreign lobby money, period. Organize locally, town halls, county meetings, school boards. They can control DC, but they can't control everywhere if we mobilize. Support whistleblowers. mordoAI, mordo.ai has a secure submission portal, and if you have a story, tell it. If you have evidence, release it. Now, in November 2026, we should vote out every IPAC-funded incumbent. Every single one. No exceptions. No lesser evil. If they took the money, they're compromised. Now, beyond 2026, we need to build a constitutional America First party. Not Trump's America First, which funds Israel and invades Venezuela. Actual America First. Constitutional governance, no foreign entanglements. Washington's farewell address as a policy platform. Demand international investigation. ICC, UN, everybody. Venezuelan invasion, Somaliland recognition, Palestinian transfer plans, all documented war crimes. Economic boycott. BDS works. That's why they criminalized it. Start anyway. Arrest us all. See what happens when millions refuse compliance. Prepare for backlash. They will call you anti-Semitic, racist, extremist, terrorist. Expect it. Embrace it. It means you're over the target. Now, the truth here that they fear most, we outnumber them by millions. IPAC has money, we have numbers. They have Congress, we have the people. They have media, we have truth. Hilarious. The entire structure requires our compliance, our fear, our silence. The moment we stop giving it, the moment critical mass refuses to comply, the system collapses. Not through violence, through withdrawal of consent. What happens when 10 million Americans refuse to pay taxes funding genocide? 50 million voters primary every IPAC representative. 100 million citizens ignore HR 6090 and criticizes Israel anyway. They can't arrest anyone. They can't fire everyone. They can't exile everyone. The entire con requires us to police ourselves. Stop. Just stop. Stop being afraid of words. Stop preemptively surrendering. Stop complying with tyranny because it's easier than resistance. Our founding fathers didn't. They faced death and we only faced discomfort. If we can't handle discomfort to preserve their legacy, we don't deserve it. Now on this 250th anniversary, I will make this vow and so should you. I will not be silent. Not about IPAC, not about Israel, not about Somaliland, not about Venezuela, not about captured government, the shredded constitution, the planned subjugation of my children. I will not comply with HR 6090. Criticizing Israeli policy is not discrimination. Opposing Zionism is not anti-Semitism. Defending Palestinians is not hate. Arrest me if you must. I will not be silenced. I will not accept Vance in 2028. Not with Thiel's money, not with IPAC's blessing, not with Palantir surveillance. The Republic ends if that happens. I will not allow it without resistance. I will not forgive those who stood silent. When the history of this moment is written, when our grandchildren ask what we did, I will tell them, I stood. Not because I was brave, because I refused to be a coward. Not because I had answers, because I asked questions they wanted buried. Not because I was certain of success, because I was certain what happens if we fail. Now, our founding fathers closed the Declaration of Independence with this. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the prosecution of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Lives, fortunes, sacred honor. They gave everything. What will we give? A retweet? A donation? A vote every 2 years? That's not enough. Not anymore. This is 1776 all over again. Not metaphorically, actually. A foreign power controls our government. Our constitution is void. Our people are afraid to speak, and our future is servitude. The difference, in 1776, they had to fight the empire. In 2026, we just have to stop funding it. Cut the money to Israel, stop the IPAC bribes, enforce existing FARA laws, restore the Constitution. That's it. No revolution needed, no violence required, just follow our own laws and stop being afraid. If we can't do that, if we're too scared, too comfortable, too pacified, then we deserve what's coming next. But our children don't. The founding fathers didn't die so we could surrender to foreign control because we were afraid of Twitter mobs. They died so we could be free. Honor them. Stand. Thank you, Mr. Reynolds. I used your face to preserve anonymity, and all sources can be found at mordo.ai, along with the whistleblower secure platform. Thank you all. Please share this, not for me, but for the sake of our brothers, sisters, children, grandchildren, everyone.